infrastructure as a code this time. So this is the main slide. So in the bottom row, what we've used so far is we've used Bash, Vagrant, and Docker Compose as our infrastructure tools. So infrastructure as code tools, they just allow us to build the same thing every time. So whether it's we rebuild something, or whether we rebuild 10 servers the same, or 100 servers the same, it's very much the cattle v pets. It's just to treat your machine as cattle and have it all repeatable. So the majority of this course will just use Bash and Docker Compose if you're running a Raspberry Pi, and if you're using a shared, if your Windows machine or your Mac machine, we'll use Vagrant to automate a virtual server build. Helm is Kubernetes. It's like Docker Compose, slightly more complicated. And Chef and Ansible were the infrastructure code tools to build a virtual machine or a physical machine, so that you install the right software and patch it and stuff like that. For this course, we're going to focus on containers that are more relevant. So Chef and Ansible you won't need to learn. So the top level are the three big tools to build many things in cloud. So there's Palomi, which is Python focused for programmers, and some programmers quite like that. The main program is Terraform. Terraform's used ubiquitously everywhere. It works on all three clouds plus Kubernetes. But IBM have bought HashiCorp, who make Terraform. So people are conscious that IBM have a track record like Ansible. They stop things being free, like Red Hat, CentOS, they stopped it being free. So OpenTofu is a snapshot. So if you're starting from scratch, you might want to go with OpenTofu to start with. And there are plenty of libraries on the internet for all of them. AWS, if you're just using AWS, I would be tempted to just use AWS Cloud Formation. Amazon provides you lots of templates to do everything in best practice. If you're just using Azure, PowerShell and Bicep are brilliant, and Bicep is so good. Whereas Terraform, if you say build 50 VMs, Terraform will go away and build the 50 VMs. And if you've only got enough network capacity for 32, it'll build the 32 before it finds the error and then rewind them all back. Bicep is clever enough to go at the start before it does anything to scan it, because it's a Microsoft tool and it's really integrated into the deep bits of Azure. It will just say no, you don't have enough networking space to build 50 VMs at the beginning. Google Cloud uses Terraform by default, so Terraform's probably the way to go if you're wanting to do lots of infrastructure as code. But I think in this case, all you need to do is understand it, and Helm is the Kubernetes specific version. So I've got a couple of examples of files. So these are the files we've used so far in the other videos, and they're a mixture of Bash and Vagrant. And Vagrant because it's a virtual machine, so at the beginning the lines define the operating system we're putting on, the size, so it's like a 4 gig machine with 2 CPUs, the network address, stuff like that. Bash commands are what's inside the shell. So that the sudo apt update is a Bash command, disable firewall is a Bash command, everything underneath that is a Bash command. So the VMs we've been building, if you're just using a Raspberry Pi, you'll just use the Bash section. If you're using a virtual machine on your Mac or Windows machine, you'll have used the Vagrant commands to wrap the Bash commands. So it's all nice and simple, pretty straightforward. Docker Compose is what we've been using to build our stuff. Again, it's very prescriptive. It's so Postgres, there's a Peppermint one. Postgres is the database, what ports, what passwords, and the other Peppermint container is the one with the application. Very simple. It shows you what volumes. Should we be using, if we switch and use Podman Compose, it's very much the same file. There's a slight changes as we have to specify exactly what repo is coming from. So Docker's assuming that the Postgres file is coming from Docker Hub. If we switch to Podman, we've got to be explicit that it's the one in Docker Hub, etc. But it's essentially the same file. It does both. The Docker Compose just allows a little bit of shortcuts at the moment. Helm is the Kubernetes version, and you can see it's very similar to Docker Compose, a lot more complicated, because you can dictate what machines an application runs on multiple. So it's normally all your applications in the Kubernetes thing, but maybe some nodes or some machines you run your Kubernetes cluster across have got GPUs on. So it might say machines that need GPUs running these machines and machines that don't, apps that don't go in these. So Helm's just a more sophisticated, more complicated version of Docker Compose, and there are plenty of samples on the internet and configurations. So it's the best practice if you're going to do a lot of Kubernetes. Chef and Ansible, they're very similar. We don't need them anymore, I don't think. So this is just defines package HTTPD. So this is put on a web server. Tells the so it installs HTTPD, then it starts it up, and then defines a web page. So very simple. The recipes can get more complicated, obviously, but that's how they work. They're very clear, very straightforward. Terraform or OpenTofu is the granddaddy of them all. So we've got 3 files here. One defines the variables of what you're going to put in your config. One is the main, where it says we're talking to Google. That's what it's called as a provider. But there are different providers for Kubernetes, for AWS. There's lots and lots and lots. And then the actual main thing of everything that's done is done on the right hand side. But both support modules, so that you can put all your database tasks under one thing and all your messaging stuff under another. And it's very good. So that we'll maybe get to in the future, but it's just to know it's there. So thanks very much. That's brilliant.